G'day guys, Josh here. Now, just give me a quick review of Diablo 4 to see how I've enjoyed Diablo 4 so far. Now, obviously you may notice on my Twitch and YouTube channel I've been streaming a bit more WoW, obviously since TOGC came out, but I thought I'd give my thoughts about Diablo 4 currently at the moment. Now, Diablo 4 with, obviously this is first pre-season before any of the new features or anything like that, so don't take it as like a review of the seasonal content coming in the future. It's more of the game overall. Now, there are a lot of good points in this game. Obviously, the graphics are amazing. The open world is also amazing. Being able to, see people in the world as well in an ARPG game is pretty decent, just like kind of like Lost Ark in a way as well. And also to be able to fight mobs with various other people as well, and also go into dungeons with various other people as well. And also to really expand the world of Diablo. I mean, overall, it used to be just 5 acts and then done for all these games, including, Diablo 3 itself. I mean, Diablo 3 was like a halfway point to it all. Now, the music was amazing. The music was especially going up to the final boss. It's absolutely stunning, and you guys will enjoy it quite a bit. It just really just plays in and really captures the epicness of the moment. I mean, it really captures the dark gothic theme as well, especially in Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3, where there's a lot of dark, dark premonitions and dark pulses to the story. Like, there's no happy ending to a story or anything like that, I feel so. And also, as well, another one as well, like, a few of the plot twists that come about as well was actually kind of crazy, especially when you go to Act 4, Act 5, where the person that you helped out was actually a really, really strong person in themselves, which is kind of crazy out there as well, which was pretty good. Now, the Nightmare Dungeons, I've enjoyed the new affixes. It's in a way where the affixes are more annoying and frustrating, just kind of like, Arcane Enchanted in Diablo 3. Everyone knows the spinning wheel of death, basically. And a lot more easier to manage than Diablo 3. Now, some people may be like, oh, what about that little Spirit Bolt or Lightning Caller and whatnot? But I guess you can manage those a lot better than you could manage Arcane Enchanted, where Arcane Enchanted could turn into like a spinning wheel of death where you can't actually go in to kill the mob if you're a melee class. But in these affixes, at least you can go to melee and kill the mob, okay, compared to Diablo 3. Now, the world bosses and also the other events have been pretty fun as well. I mean, the events have been very good. The Hell Ties especially have been very, very good. It's another alternative source of getting gear, legendary aspects onto gear and stuff like that. I've got to give him a lot of thumbs up for the legendary gear as well, where you can extract legendary aspects. You can also gain them from going to dungeons and stuff like that to put on your gear. And it's been very, very easy to, basically extract aspects of crap gear, put them onto good gear, and really build a best in slot set, or not the true best in slot set, but a good best in slot set you can go through, a lot of dungeons with as well. And not to mention as well that, you can get the basic one where, you don't have to hunt for a legendary of that type anymore. You can go back to the basic one and still utilize that build until you get the big normal one again. Now, even with all these good sites as well, there's also reforging as well on the gear, where you can reforge one stat off to get another stat, which is pretty awesome as well, because there's always that one piece of gear that's perfect, but it's got like stunner block recovery if you play PoE, or it's got resist on it currently. If you play Diablo 4, where resist is just a useless stat at the moment, you can always just reforge it off. Now, the upgrade system's pretty awesome as well for armor and JC as well, so you can increase the effectiveness of your gear if you want to as well. I recommend until you start getting like really top tier gear, it's generally only like 1 to 2 free upgrades, basically, so you want to keep your mats for the better sorts of gear, and also some of the mats as well you do need for enchants and stuff like that. Now, another cool system as well is with JC, where you can add slots of gear, which makes it a lot easier, because I remember in Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 sometimes, that's, if a gear didn't have a socket in it, was just like, well, that's it, that wasn't good enough. But, it's good to see that there's a socket in said gear as well. You can put a socket in, and it's really, really good. And also the jewelry as well, even though I miss life on hits, obviously the skulls, they've still got, at least some decent jewelry, until, of course, resist is fixed, of course, because at the moment, with resistance not being fixed, it means every single resist gem, other than a skull and a few other things in armor, and ruby in armor, are pretty much useless at this stage. So you're pretty much just gemming skulls non-stop. Now let's go for the bad things about Diablo 4. Now, the bad things about Diablo 4 altogether, I'm going to say right now, is the leveling system, okay? Now, leveling system, of course, the world comes up with you. There's nothing bad with the scaling or anything like that. It's the fact that if you want to pump higher nightmare mode dungeons, this comes a big of an issue when you hit world tier 4, where you can do tier 40 to 45 dungeons, but if you're level 73, 74, 75, doing those higher tier dungeons don't reward you of anything. In fact, it slows you down. You're better off doing dungeons only 3 levels above you. Now, the reason why that's a bad thing is that shouldn't you be given more incentive for doing the harder mode dungeons? So shouldn't you be getting more EXP, for example, than doing the lower tier dungeons? Like, you should be getting more at a quicker rate for rewarding you for doing those dungeons in the first place. And there doesn't seem to be a reward system in place for that either, which is pretty sad, to be honest. And, I feel you want to be getting rewarded for doing the harder tier of content as well. The other thing is resistances, okay? Resistances being useless on the expansion and being so convoluted and complicated that you have to wait till Season 2 to fix it is pretty disappointing. Let's just be honest, okay? Because you've got a stat, like if anyone gets resistance on a stat, it's immediately bin material. Like you just basically salvage it right away. And resistances don't provide anything, and they keep dropping act after act after act. And there's another stat, which is armor, which is just a better version of resistances. You can just basically have, if you've got 80% armor, it means you've got 40% resistances against everything else, which is like, why get it on a piece of gear when you can just smash armor to get your resistances? Also, as well, I mean, damage reduction in itself is such a strong stat that you would have to get 1.6k% of resistances to beat it. And damage reduction is such a strong stat as well as armor. And yeah, that's, like I say, not too many bad things about Diablo. Another thing as well is that Diablo's open world experience is not really open world. It seems to just be a few instances chained together, and they're trying to use server meshing, and it hasn't really been that smooth. It's not really a big bad point. It's probably more of a nitpick more than anything, but it can disrupt the world flow, disrupt the immersion as well. They have told us that it's on their end, not on our end, so a lot of people who are panicking thinking that PCs are exploding. That's not the case. But, we really want a smoothed out experience, and I'm not sure how they're going to do it, given the fact that they're jumping between different servers as you go into different zones. It's going to be a hard one to do, actually. But either or, Diablo 4 is probably worth the $70 that you pay for it as well. Definitely you have lots of fun in it as well. If you got a lot of friends, you can run dungeons together as well. The first season is going to be telling on how good of a game it's going to be. I can say overall, like with Diablo 4, it's probably up there with PoE. PoE is a very, very good game in itself, despite needing a PhD to understand. But, there's got a good community there, as well as in Diablo 4 as well. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this review, and hope you guys have a wonderful day.